here we are, Friday the 13th. Let's set the mood a little bit here. Ooh. Is that too loud? Sound all right? Let us know in the chat if that sounds all right.
It's fine. It's good.
It's supposed to be some background noise here. All right, so the Rangers put up 16 runs here on Thursday, Scott. Corey Seager decided he wanted no part of that action. He went 0 for 3 with 2 walks. And frankly, that is one of the worst feelings playing fantasy. You see a team puts up a massive amount of runs. You go to check, oh, I've got Corey Seager on my team. Boom. He did absolutely nothing. Well, it's been a pretty scary season for Corey Seager. He's hitting .238 with a .706 OPS. His ground ball rate is up. He's still hitting the ball hard. Expected stats look good. Scott, I am here to say that everyone should be trying to buy on Corey Seager.
Buy. Yeah, I agree. Like I have not been tempted to move him down in the rankings at all. He's had 2 IL stints this year, right? So he's really his sample is smaller than you'd expect here for this point in the season. And I think maybe a lot of times when a guy falls behind in at bats like that, you see him try to do too much all at once. But he's a pro. I think he'll come around, especially since the data looks so good for Corey Seager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the fact that he has been on the IL twice this season, it's, maybe he just wasn't right. Maybe he was just not right physically, right? It's that hamstring twice, and so that's kind of derailed his season to this point. But I'll tell you what, I hit up a few people here on Thursday night. I'm sending out feelers. I am trying to buy Corey Seager right now while I can. Let's talk about the person who pitched against the Rangers in this start. Bailey Ober got crushed. 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs, 6 walks, 4 homers allowed. Just about as disastrous an outing that you can have, Scott. 10 hard hits in this one, 94.3 average exit velocity, 52% of his pitches for strikes. Apparently dealing with issues to his hip and dealing with mechanical issues. So he said that he's been dealing with some left hip stuff going back to spring training, and he's receiving regular treatment. Might explain why Bailey Ober is having such a weird season so far this year. Still 95% rostered. Is he a hold? Have you thought about dropping him anywhere? I don't think we could start him in Cincinnati next week, coming off a start where he gave up 4 home runs.
Yeah, and he's got an 8.04 ERA over his past 3 starts. It's kind of amazing given how much his velocity's been down this year, given that he's dealing with what he called some hip stuff since spring training. He's got a bit of a mechanical mess going on here. Like it's pretty impressive that he had managed with all that going on not to scare us until these last 3 starts. But I think it's fine to pull back now and to wait for him to figure it out. For what it's worth, both he and Rocco Baldelli sound very confident that he's going to get this straightened out. So after his last start, he said, my mechanics just felt not good right now, not very smooth and disjointed. But here in this follow-up start against the Rangers, which was also bad, the velocity bounced back a little bit. It was up over 90 miles per hour, at least after being below the previous 2 starts. He said, I felt better mechanically moving faster on the mound, but it was harder to find my release point on that side of the mechanics. I'm still not where I want to be, but I think I'm making strides in the right direction. Just got to stick to it, get back to working hard. I'll eventually get there. And what he was saying about the release point, I think you see it reflected in the 6 walks for Bailey Ober, which is so out of character. He's a guy who never walks more than 1 a game. And I think he's got a good handle on what's going on. He's just got to get there. And I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know anybody can say how long that's going to take. So I would just call Bailey Ober a sit for now.
All right, it was one of those nights for Sonny Gray opposing Jacob Misiorowski. He was at the Brewers, 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs allowed, 4 strikeouts in this one. Just didn't really have much working on his breaking pitches. The sweeper and the curve are so important for Sonny Gray, and he had been awesome. I mean, previous 4 starts, he had allowed 3 earned runs total, a 107 ERA, a 103 whip. So I guess he was just kind of due for a bad start, Scott. I don't think there's anything else. There's not much to fret over here with Sonny Gray.
I've spent his whole career trying to figure him out, which has been most of my own career too. It's been a lot of trying to figure out Sonny Gray, and I'm just tired of wasting words on it. There is no figuring out Sonny Gray. His previous 2 outings were scoreless. He had 15 strikeouts between them. Everything was going great. And you know, this just happens with him. And he pulls it out in the long run, but he's never as good as he looks at his best. He never ends up being that good. And so you got to take some of the bad with the good.
All right, speaking of good, let's talk about someone who was scary good. Framber Valdez, 5 innings, 2 runs, 12 strikeouts against the White Sox. He had 20 whiffs on 95 pitches. The whip here, not so great, 7 hits, 1 walk, but overall, you'll take the 2 runs, the 12 strikeouts, and last 7 starts for Framber Valdez, a 2.02 ERA, a .94 whip, 59 strikeouts over 49 innings. And Scott, this is the pitcher that we were looking for coming into the season as like a, you know, if you wait on pitching, could wind up as like a low-end SP1, high-end SP2 type.
Yeah. Well, just yesterday we were comparing David Peterson to Framber Valdez, acknowledging it was a stretch, but you know that they share some characteristics. That's not going to be true if Valdez is doing this. Valdez is going to be in a different class, back-to-back double-digit strikeout efforts against the Pirates and White Sox, it's worth pointing out. But more than that, I think the fact he's thrown his curveball so much in those 2 starts, the usage over 40% in both, and that's where he was getting the curveball usage when we saw him begin racking up strikeouts down the stretch last year too. So it's nice to see Framber Valdez go back to that and get some of the same results. I think we should all be pretty bullish on him moving forward.
All right, and last one here is some scary bullpen usage. It's especially scary if you have Daniel Palencia on your team because he pitched in the 8th inning with a 1-run lead, facing 2, 3, and 4 in the Pirates lineup. He retired them in order. You can argue that was the biggest spot because he was facing the heart of the lineup. And then Ryan Presley came in for the 9th inning. He also had a 1-run lead, retired all 3 batters that he faced, picked up his 5th save of the season. And since allowing 8 earned runs back on May 6th, Ryan Presley has thrown 13 shutout innings, 12 hits, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts, and he's 33% rostered. Scott, do you think that they're starting to kind of work Presley back in like this is legit, or do you think they just use Palencia in the biggest spot and he's still their highest leverage reliever?
Yes. Could be either one. Palencia has been great since stepping into the closer role. I know he had a blown save recently. I don't think it was technically a blown save because they brought him back in for a 2nd inning, which is probably why it all fell apart. But otherwise, he had been great, and I thought he had nailed down the closer role. And I'm surprised this happened. But maybe it just was because 2, 3, and 4 were due up for the Pirates in the 8th. We don't see Craig Counsell do that kind of stuff a lot, but it's not unprecedented, not totally unprecedented anyway. So maybe that's all it was. I think you gotta just stand your ground with Palencia for now. In leagues where saves are scarce, maybe take a second look at Presley.
All right, there you go. Some scary performances here on a Friday the 13th. Make sure to get out and, I don't know, watch a horror movie, Jason, Freddy, whatever you want to do.
You could play my favorite. I'm not even kidding. This is my favorite original Nintendo game, Friday the 13th. I love it.
Is it really?
I love it. Yes. Like once you figure out what you're supposed to do in it, I think that was always because it gets a bad rap. Friday the 13th. People think it's one of the worst games, but I think it's just kind of difficult to grasp picking up and playing it as a kid, and you're scared out of your mind when you're playing it. So you're not willing to put in the time to figure it out. You're too busy hiding under your bed. But once you figure out what to do, it is so like, I like it so much. I recorded a whole podcast about it back in 2020. And I wrote a whole script. Like I wrote like a 20,000 word script for the podcast. And yeah, you could probably still find it out there somewhere.
I love that that retro Jason too, that he's wearing the purple jumpsuit. He's got like the blue mask. Yeah, that's I've seen that around in a few places. So all right, there you go. Either watch a movie or go play Friday the 13th on NES.